Hey, what's going on everybody? Dane Bart's here from Linked Fit. So in today's video, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be talking about posture. So posture is a critical thing that we always want to do when we're obviously in a seated position, we're in a standing position, and then also when we're in movement as well. And that movement can be under a specific load using external weights, or it could be just body weight in general. So today you typically see in society is that rounded position. So what we want to do is we want to correct that position so that we can reduce pain, because typically what you see is you see a lot of lower back pain, potentially even some respiratory dysfunctions because of the fact that you're compressing that thoracic cavity down, which is going to make your breathing patterns a little bit different. So also things that you'll see as well is shoulder dysfunction. Shoulders potentially will lose its range of motion because of the fact that you're in this rounded position. You're in that forward position. We live in that forward position. So from here, I'll kind of do a quick little demonstration of this one. Shoulders are forward. You try to get your hands up overhead, you can't get there. So other things that you'll see is neck pain as well. So a lot of times you see that forward head position. We're looking at our computer screens. We're looking typically at our phones, and I know that everyone sees this today, is that you're down here and looking at that. Typically in society, we always want to look forward. Also other things that you will see as well is some hip dysfunction as well, just because everything is connected to that spine and it's connected to that pillar position as well. So what we're going to be going over, we're going to be going over some seated positions. We're also going to be going over a standing position, and I'll kind of demonstrate a couple movements that you see in priority of that posture. And then also I'm going to be demonstrating with these weights over here some exercises that are going to help increase your strength and also your endurance of the postural muscles. So from here, that first one that we're going to be doing is we're going to go into the seated position. So typically what you see is a C shape within that body. Hips are all the way forward on the chair. A lot of times you see this on like a sofa or anything like that. Could be on your computer, it could be watching TV. And I know I'm exaggerating a little bit, but this is very common. So what things that you'll see is, look at, you can see that C shape all the way from my knees all the way around and seeing this position while your head is still in that forward position. So other things that you will see as well, your hips might be all the way back, but now you're still in that forward position with the shoulder. Rounded forward, same thing like I said earlier, upper cross syndrome. So what I always recommend is two different variations that we can do to increase our posture awareness when we're in a seated position. What you're going to do is sit kind of almost close to that edge, not necessarily almost falling off, but keep those shoulders back. What I always tell everybody, definitely in a seated position, let's keep that stomach engaged, let's keep those shoulders back, but then also when you're keeping those shoulders back, let's keep that head back and also that chin tucked in. So we're here in this position, working on your computer, whatever the case may be, just make sure that we're having priority of our posture. Other things that we can do as well, you don't necessarily want to sit off of a desk because you might have a rolling chair, and if you sit off the edge of the desk, or the seats, is you might fall forward. You don't want that to happen. So same thing, let's keep those hips back, pull the shoulders back, let's keep that head back. You can even use this as a reinforcement because of the fact that now your head has to hit that the chair the whole entire time. So same thing, whatever you're doing, keep that good posture, stomach's engaged, pull the shoulders back, head's back, chin's tucked in, your spine is nice and straight. Other things that we're going to go over as well is the standing position. So we are human, we are mobile, we're always going to be able to have the ability to stand, and then from there we're going to talk about movement in a little bit. But from here, what you always see is potentially two different things. You see sway with the hips forward and potentially see that rounded. So if you kind of look at me, you might see like a little bit of like an S shape. So what we want to do is obviously stand up. What other things that you can do, you don't necessarily see the hips sway forward, but you can also see the shoulders forward as well, but the hips are kind of in a neutral position. So what we want to do is reinforce it. So I'm always going to say this to all my clients, and I'll definitely give everyone this recommendation. 1, 2, 3, or A, B, C. So what we're going to do, lock your stomach in, let's keep those hips tight, and then pull the shoulders and the head back. So what I always say as the A or the 1 is going to be your head and your shoulders back. And then also your B or your 2 is going to be your stomach. And then also your C or your 3 is going to be those hips. Keeping everything nice and straight, locking everything in, keep that good posture from there. Other things that we always see is movement. So as a fitness specialist, we always want to prioritize perfect movement when we're doing our training, our coaching, when you're with clients, or even when you're by yourself. Prioritize. You have mirrors all around, typically in some facilities, so let's make sure that we're using that feedback so that we can see our good posture and practice safe exercise. So one of the big common exercises that you'll see in a complex lift, barbells, whatever the case may be, is you're going to see an RDL, a Romanian deadlift. So it's more priority of a hinge within the hips. So from here, I'll kind of demonstrate a bad one with poor posture. Again, posture, looking more at the spine variations. You're going to see this position here. You got a slight bend in the knees, but you're still not necessarily prioritizing your spine extension. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to demonstrate that perfect exercise that we could do to keep our back nice and straight. So again, reinforce. You got A, B, and C. Now let's add that hip hinge, that Romanian deadlift. Again, a good little exercise for our hips and our hamstrings as well. I'll kind of do one now with a lunge position. So on this one, I'll kind of get in a different angle position. We're going to go here. We're going to go into just a reverse lunge, but now I'm going to demonstrate the next two with poor posture. So we're here, we're leaning forward. Imagine doing that under load. You don't necessarily want to do that. You always want to prioritize perfect posture. It's going to help keep your spine healthy. So from here, same exact thing. A, B, and C, doing the same exact thing when you're doing your reverse lunges. So we pretty much just went over our 3 different things that I always love to talk about. I always love talking about our seated posture, your standing posture, then also your movement posture. So when you move, again, prioritize. It could be body weight. What we're gonna do now is I'm gonna show you some exercises with weight. So I always wanna prioritize my perfect posture even when I'm using this one. We'll start off pretty basic. So to keep the rhomboids active and everything, for the scapulas, you always want to grab a resistance band. You can do some pull aparts. If you're looking for a little bit more endurance, so again, something that's going to be a little bit longer in time, try to do a little bit more repetitions from here. So what we're going to do, we have our pull aparts. Again, prioritize that perfect posture. You got A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3, and I'm ripping that resistance band apart. Again, you can use, I'll kind of show, so Alex can see that perfect posture position from the back. Again, perfect exercise for those back muscles from there. What we're also going to do is I'm going to do a bent over row. So it's pretty much in a bent over position. You're kind of in that RDL position, that hinge position. So again, practice safe exercise, putting it up. So from here, A, B, C. Again, lock everything in, prioritize. I'm going to do some rows. So good exercise for the lats, posterior delts, rhomboids, traps. Again, squeezing those shoulders back. If you're looking for a little bit more strength, what you could do is add a little bit more weight to it, increase that intensity. And again, if you're looking for endurance, let's add a little bit less weight so you can do higher repetitions. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to move these out of the way really quick. We're going to do a couple glute exercises, because glute exercises are pretty much your butt, and we want to do posterior tilt of that pelvis. A lot of times, like I said, that hip dysfunction, pain in the lower back and everything, can be because of your anterior pelvic tilt. And what we want to do is reverse that. So I'm going to put a resistance band here. I'm going to put it around my knees. I always say about a couple inches above that kneecap. Again, laying down, feet are nice and straight. Squeeze those glutes. You can also add a little bit of like an external rotation. So if Alex can kindly come over here just to see pretty much my knees, what they're about to do. You're going to come up, bridge, and you're going to push the knees out, come back down, bridge up, push the knees out, but same exact thing. You got to squeeze that stomach, keep your pillar, basically your core, in a perfect position when you're doing exercises. I'm going to demonstrate one more. We're going to come over to this position. We're going to go into a low pillar bridge. So again, lock in your stomach in, and you can do some hip extensions, but keeping a good pillar bridge position. So locking everything in. Again, prioritize perfect posture. So kind of a recap. Went over potentially the pain that can happen. A lot of times in society, we see lower back pain. The prevalence of that is pretty darn high. shoulder issues, neck issues, potentially breathing dysfunctions as well. So make sure that we're prioritizing our posture and being aware of it when you're in a seated position, when you're in a standing position, and also when you're in movement under load and just with body weight itself. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.